Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Bracel here. A little tarot unboxing. I have today the Sefirot, the Spheres of Heaven Tarot. This is by Elliot Baum, George Hobmeyer, Viv Tanner, and James Patton, which is a lot of people. So this should be interesting. It is an 80 card deck with the guidebook, and I figured out that it was because there's 2 extra lovers cards that have some diversity to them, which is neat to have like your own pick your own lovers card. I was pretty tempted to send this straight back because as I was reading the back of the box, I thought that it was a Pip style tarot deck, and those are not my favorite. I very rarely use them because I like to look at the pictures. I'm a basic bitch, and my intuition says beware the pictures though. But then I was like, you know what, why don't you open it at least and look inside it, because the worst thing that'll happen is you'll have to send it back and then Amazon will just shrink wrap it again, right? Like, tis what it is. But I was really like in love with the art for the major arcana that I could see in the little preview, so might as well get a look at it, right? Like, maybe I'll like it, maybe it won't be so bad. Also, ignore the noise in the background. If you watched my last unboxing, I'm still printing. I'm forever printing. But it's going to be exciting, and I'm going to share it with you before this video comes out. So it'll be a really weird, wibbly wobbly, timely-wimey sort of deal, because I'm going to put this video out after I show you what I've been printing. But it's exciting, and I hope that you guys liked it when you saw it. So let's get in here. It is a nice, very solid box, although thank you Amazon for throwing my packages onto my porch rather than walking up the couple, like the last 4 stairs, because you dented my box, and that's upsetting. So, okay, weird cut, but I decided I needed more coffee before I got into this, so here we are, cracking it open. Satisfying. Oh, it says don't resist the call of the void, and that's not a message for me. I feel like that's not a message for me or people like me. That's not a message for us. So we got a nice little guidey book here. So it looks like George Hobmeyer is a writer. I'm going to stop right here where it says artificial intelligence. So that's not really cool. Ranging from librettos co-written by artificial intelligence. So I guess he uses AI to help him do shit that's chuggy. And then Elliot Baum and Viv Tanner are an artist duo. And then James Patton is an indie game developer. And a witch. So, interesting mix of people. There are no photos in the guidebook. So, not my favorite guidebook. For sure. It does look very comprehensive. There's some very long explanations in here, but I don't have the photo reference that I prefer. And that's a personal preference. And then there is the other side of the box. It's just like a galaxy-ish pattern. And then we have some ungilded card edges. And I'm getting to the point, I think, in my tarot collection career that doesn't pay, I pay it, where I just really like appreciate a colored or gilded edge, and it makes me very sad to see like a tarot deck without any gilding. And granted, I have the tools, I can gild my own card edges, and I might if I like this one enough to, but like just gild my cards, make them pretty. But they are pretty, because I did really like the artwork here, so you know, I'm not going to shit on this deck because it's a Pip deck. That's what I'm doing right now because I have strong feelings, but also that AI thing made me mad. So I'm going to hope, because there's an artist duo behind this, no AI was used in the making of the deck, but we'll see. Okay, so first up, we have the Fool card. And this card is pretty dang gorgeous, dude, I'm not going to lie. Like, the dog and bird motif are captured in the clothing, and that's really nice. I really love this. Do I have enough light? Do I have the right lighting? I don't know. I put my camera up higher so I wasn't constantly hitting it, and now I feel like everything looks super dark in the camera frame, and that's just like a personal issue. But yes, this is the Fool card, so that's pretty. And then we have the Magician, and I like this one. It's not like the fanciest Magician, but I do like it. I like the art style a lot for these. And it does get all the Magician vibes across. Ooh, I like this one. This is the High Priestess. And she's got like the 3 heads behind her, giving some like Hecate vibes. Like, very pretty. I do like the flat colors of this. I like the colors chosen for this. This is the card that was on the cover. Yeah. And it was the card that initially drew me to look at this deck in the first place. This is the Empress. So I do remember reading that this deck has like Kabbalistic influences, which I think is present in a lot of the symbology, and I don't have like a super depth understanding of a Kabbalah, but it's always really interested me. Like, so I like to look into it, and I like to read some stories from it. There's the Emperor. That's a great card. And I love just like the contrast. Like the cool tones to warm tones. That's really cool. Oh, here we have the Hierophant. I like this one. I don't typically like enjoy the Hierophant card, but like the little people down here, like in the pulpit style thing. This is really pretty. I do like this a lot. And like it's got sort of a modern look with like an older backdrop. And I really like how they're utilizing clothing to like set the scenery. That's a really cool feature here. So here we have our first Lovers card. And that's really nice. Like, I would have just been happy with that. But then we have this one. Got a little polycule here. And I also really like this. That's really neat. And then the last one, I'm gonna get like demonetized. It's got parts on it. But I love the parts. All of the parts. Well, that's weird to say. I like the card. Jeez, I'm definitely getting demonetized now. But that's really nice. It's nice to have like a set to pick from. I'd probably pick this one because I like the colors the most on this one. But they're all really nice. And I think it's cool to have like the option for like inclusivity and things that people would not necessarily put into their decks. Like, you don't normally see that in a standard deck. So I really do like having that as an option. And like the fact that it's an option is also really cool because people who aren't comfortable with that kind of stuff can just omit those cards and it works for everybody. There's the Chariot. This one's really cool. I really love how dynamic the imagery is in this one. And then we have Strength. And she's just really cool. Look at her. She's got some little battle wounds, but she overcame to tame the beast, which is really neat. And then like the tail holding the landscape in is really cool. I love the artwork. I might have to go look up the artist because they're just really clever with this. Like, this is so pretty to me, like even prettier than the people in the picture. But here is the Hermit, and I do really like that. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. I just looked at how many minutes it's been already, so now it's time to go a little faster. And you have like the fates down here, very neat, and all the moon phases. And then we have Justice. And that's pretty nice. Yeah, I like this. I like this, like, sort of pillar figure in the background. Like, is it religious? Is it, like, emotional, spiritual? Just your sense of law and order? Like, the personification? I like that idea. And then we have the Hanged Man. And this is giving me, like, Odin in the tree vibes. And I like that. I like that. Also kind of Jedi. A little Jedi. But very neat. And it has that connection from like above and below. Very cool. This is, wow. This might be my favorite card in the deck because, wow. This is death. And like, look at that. That is so cool. That is so like graphic and just stunning. And then we have Temperance. This is a very standard Temperance card. Still pretty. And then we have the Devil. It's interesting. I might have to go like do a comparison to see which cards use this like red color and which ones don't. Because even the Tower is a red color. And then everything else is like a soft green and blue. But this is really pretty. Pretty in the sense that the artwork is pretty. It's a little bit terrifying the more I look at it. But not as terrifying as the Tower card. And this is giving like Tower of Babel, which is like the architecture styles. This is very cool. Okay, and then we have this star. And that's really nice. I like that the water is coming from like the veil of like night. That's really neat. And then we have the moon. And there's like the scorpion. And this lizard dog. And a dog. It's not a scorpion, it's a lobster. I know what things are. And then we have the moon. Very cool. And look, the reflection is like a darker version. Very neat. And then we have the sun. You can see like the little sun face looking down. And all the pretty sunflowers, which I really like. Oh, and then we have the gate. Okay. That's interesting. I do like this. And I like, again, this like play of reflections and like the light and dark and the balance in between both. I think this deck is really good at capturing that. And then we have the world. This one's really neat. It also has that as above and so below sort of contrasts, like symbolism going on. Very cool. And then we move into the minors, into the pips, and these are going to go really quickly because there's not a lot of artwork. If you aren't familiar, a pip deck is a deck that just has like sort of playing card symbols, that type of like representation, as opposed to having actual images for each card. So here we have the Ace of Wands, and then there is the 2, which is very interesting, 3, and then there's 4 each branch, 5. I think I wouldn't know if they didn't have the numbers on each one. I would not know how many branches there. I would spend a lot of time counting. They're pretty. I'll give it that. There's 7. There's 8. And 9. And I do like that they're different, like card to card. And then here we go. We have the Page of Wands. And of course, wands are in red because they're the fire one. And then you know, little sheeps there. Those are cute. Really captures like as a shepherdess that she's like leading, herding, doing that kind of work, as opposed to the knight who's sort of being a knight. It's sort of an action, like a more actionable card. This is really nice too. And then we have the Queen of Wands, and she's cool. I like her. She's pretty badass. Like her lions, or her lionesses, let's be appropriate here. And she looks like a fierce old queen. With a much younger king, like, yes. I'm here for it. And now he has the lion, and his wand is kind of like taking the shape of a sword. Very cool. And now we're on to cups. This is really pretty. I like this really dark background. I wish more of the cards use this really dark background because I think it makes the art style just really pop. But that's really pretty. 2. and 3. And so, like, you see, like, everyone has, like, a little bit of, like, the symbolism added, as opposed to, like, having all the little iconic, like, imagery that we're used to from the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, the 3 of the cups being, like, a communion and party sharing thing. Like, they're all sharing, like, their beverages. It's coming together. It's pouring into this little teeny tiny cup, which I also really appreciate the detail down there. So it is pretty nice. They are getting it, and then, you know, you have the more harmonious sort of pour here. And the cup left behind. So some of the symbolism is still there. It's not like a complete bust as far as pips go, because some pips decks are like 0 symbolism. It's just like the cups put out there like a normal playing card. And that's disappointing if you're a person who likes having more visual things. There's 8 and 9 and 10. And I'm sorry, these are going to go fast because they're just pips. And then here we have the Page of Cups. Very cool. She could almost be like scrying into the cup with the way she's looking at it. And then we have the Knight. And he's kind of albino, and that's cool too. I do like the pose of the horse in this one. That's pretty neat. Oh, and here we have the Queen of Cups, and she definitely looks like a very relaxed, serene individual. So I do like that. And then here is the King. He's just like chill. Like, it's raining and he doesn't mind. He's just like, yeah, I'm here with my bird friends doing bird things. They look like a good couple. And then we're into swords. This is pretty too. Now that I'm seeing these like dynamic colored backgrounds, I'm like, oh man, if these were all colored backgrounds like this deck would really pop. The gray is cool too, but like, it's not as cool as colors. But I think I'm just like a color whore. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that because I just really enjoy really bright, vivid colors in everything. 5 and 6 of swords. Then we have 7 of swords. I like that there's like a little bit of a different element in the swords. They're not all the same standard sword. There's 8. So like this doesn't give me 8 of sword vibes. It just is 8 swords, and that's part of the reason I don't like the pip, because sometimes I just need that little reminder of what like the card means. And that's my personal preference. If you like reading tarot decks with pips, that's totally on you. It's really impressive. It's not the life for me, so I don't know how long I will maintain this deck. Although I do really like the imagery, so there is a bit of a struggle here. I need to stop just holding this one-handed. I don't know why I'm doing that. But here we have the Page. And then there's like a bird taking flight here. It's kind of hard to see for me, but you guys might be able to see it better with the camera. There's a bird taking flight, and that's the path that's up here, and that's really pretty. I do really like the level of diversity in this. Like, we got a lady knight, and she's a woman of color. Like, that's very cool. And I love it. She's got like the banner and her sword going. Like, go off, girl. And then here we have the Queen. And like the Queen is like a little bit androgynous, and I really like that. Ew, even the King is androgynous. Very great. I love this couple already. Like, yeah, they're cool people. I love that. And he's like, oh, he's taking a little nappy poo on the throne there, and that's cool. That's like super high levels of inner peace. And then here we have the Pentacles. So here's the Ace, and that's just another really pretty card. And a 2, 3, 4. What's interesting is that these have a very like galaxy vibe for the earth element, which is an interesting choice. There's 7, 8, 9, and of course they're like cutting tile right outside the window now. Like, why not? It's a Saturday. It's the best time to do like apartment building work. And then we have the Page. This one's cute. Like the little calf. That's pretty. And then we have the knight. This one's also pretty. See, like this background I feel like makes a huge difference to how these cards look, because this is probably my favorite knight card. So very cool. And then we have the queen. She looks very wise. And she's there with her little ram. Like she was just telling it some gossip and then you walked in. That's what she looks like. And then we have the king. And he's got like a little ox friend. Not a little ox, a huge ox friend. And then there they are together. They look like a cool couple. They have like animal besties. And I love that for them. So yeah, that is the entirety of the Sefirot Spheres of Heaven Tarot. And I do really like it. Like, I don't think I've shit on it quite a bit because it's not like my ideal version of a tarot deck. But I do really like it. And I think I will keep this one and see if I can get behind like working with a pip deck. Because it is really pretty. Like, I do really enjoy the artwork. I like the diversity and the inclusivity. And the cards do have a really good feel for them. They are a nice, standard, thick, quality cardstock. Even though they aren't gilded. I can do that myself. I think I need to find some, like, blue, like, foil, like, kind of in this color. I think that would be really nice. And then I could foil the edges. If not, I'll just use a marker and color it in. But I do think it needs something on the edge because, like, this gray background is, it's not inspiring. I don't hate it, but it's not, like, the coolest background in the world. It is interesting to me that there is a very clear, like, delineation between one half of the deck and the other. It makes me feel like they were cut separately. Like, this half was cut on one way, and then this half was cut, like, on a different plate, and then they put them together. And there's just a slight bit of difference that, like, makes it a little bit obvious. But that's weird OCD eye coming through and not, like, a detractor from the deck. It's just, like, this side is shiny, and this side is not. And I'm curious as to how that happened. Because it feels like the paper is the same. Although there are some rough cuts on this side, so maybe that's what it is. They just cut this one with like a dull blade or something, because this one doesn't feel as rough. I don't know. I do like the deck, so I will be keeping it to work with it and see if I can get behind it. If I can't, then I'll pass it off to somebody else who will like it. And I definitely am interested in learning about the themes behind the deck. I just was really like captivated by the artwork. And it really drew me in. And it's still drawing me in because I really enjoy it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts and takeaways. Let me know what you guys thought in the description below. Just not the description. That's where I write stuff. In the comment section below. And if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate your faces. And I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Till then, happy crafting. Bye.